Welcome to Seize the Mains by Malhotra's IS Academy. I am Surbhi Sardana and this is season 3 of our daily answer writing initiative, which is parallelly running in coordination with our website. If you go to rajisacademy.com, the link is there in the description below. In the mains answer writing tab, you will see a list of questions which have been discussed till date on Seize the Mains with their model answers, all said and done. Every answer has been completely in full-fledged length, has been uploaded there. What you can do is read out the answer after going through this video. Just see how a good answer has to be written for your civil services examination, the mains part of it, and then start practicing answer writing. No matter how far you feel you are from cracking prelims or how far is your actual mains exam from today, it is very much important that you learn to express yourself whenever it comes to studying current affairs or static syllabus. Right now we are focusing Seize the Mains on current affairs. Soon we would bring questions from static portion also. But you know, it is very important that as you go through your newspapers and magazines, you practice answer writing side by side. Otherwise, these topics will not be seen in the news again and you will not be in a better position to handle these topics again, especially if you have this 2 months time between prelims and mains. So utilize at least this initiative for your benefit. Spend like 30 minutes a day. Watch this video. After that, just give 30 minutes to read the answer and write an answer of your own. No matter how bad you feel it is or how many errors it has, just write your answer, post it on the website in the comment section under each and every question that is there, and our team evaluates your answers in the next few days as soon as possible, entirely free of cost. So definitely join this initiative. The topic that we are discussing here on Seize the Mains is International Labour Organization. As of now, you know, in these days we are keeping questions very simple, very straightforward questions are being put so that a lot of topics can be covered from prelims point of view also. So let's see what ILO question has for us. Briefly explain the structure and mandate of International Labour Organization. Answer in 150 words. See, the Asia Pacific meet of International Labour Organization, ministerial meet or leaders meet that was being organized, and Singapore Declaration was in news. So Singapore Declaration has been in news. If you go to our YouTube channel, International Relations, weekly current affairs, weekly subject-wise current affairs for international relations, taken by Miss Ekamjot. She has explained Singapore Declaration and ILO in detail. So if you have any problems with regards to concept, you can definitely check out that video on our YouTube channel. Coming back to this question, see, the question is very simple. International agencies and fora, their structure and mandate is directly mentioned in your UPSC mains syllabus and mostly for state civil services also. So look at this question. It says briefly explain the structure and mandate of International Labour Organization. Answer in 150 words. So what you can do is, see, we cannot start by writing the structure. What is the structure of ILO? How does it look like? Yes, definitely we'll be talking about 3 bodies. What are the 3 bodies? Yes, International Labour Conference, the governing body, and International Labour Office. So I would definitely want you to develop, have a flow chart here talking about all the 3 bodies, name them and write about their members. What is the membership of all these 3 bodies? Also, what we'll do is we'll talk about the regional meetings that take place from time to time, regional meetings of ILO member states. So, you know, when you're talking about structure, definitely go for a flowchart approach. Do not miss out on that because, you know, that is the approach that will explain to the examiner, that will tell the examiner that you know the answer. In the introduction, an introduction is very much necessary if you're writing answers for mains. Without introduction and without conclusions, your answers are incomplete. So you cannot directly start by writing about structure of ILO. What you have to do is talk about ILO. What is it? It is a specialized agency of United Nations. What is its purpose or what is the vision of ILO? So ILO brings together, also this is the only tripartite organization of United Nations. Tripartite means it involves governments, employers and workers in decision making, in setting vision for the future. So definitely either use the term tripartite or in your first line itself, just mention it in your answer that ILO brings together governments, employers and workers of 187 member states to set labour standards, develop policies and devise programs promoting decent work for all men and women. So that is, that is the that is the right explanation or introduction line that you can use for ILO. After that, talk about when it was formed and how it came into origin. It was established in 1919 by the Treaty of Versailles, as we know, as an affiliated agency of the League of Nations, and it became the first affiliated specialized agency of the United Nations in 1946, that is after the end of World War I. So these two lines definitely give a very good very good picture about ILO. After this, just draw your flowchart about the structure, give the headline structure of ILO, draw your flowchart there, and then move on to explaining the structure. What you can do is, wherever you're drawing the flowchart, you can use this space. Use this space to talk about these agencies that you're writing about. The content is being provided here. So if you talk about the first agency, that is the International Labour Conference. It sets the international labour standards and the broad policies of ILO. So this is the main body. It meets annually in Geneva, and it is referred to International Parliament of Labour. This is very important. Just give quote here, International Parliament of Labour, as it is a forum for discussion of key social and labour questions. The second one is governing body, which is Executive Council of the ILO. Obviously, whenever you have a country which has a parliamentary system, or when you have the United Nations also, there is a general body and then you have the executive body also. So this is the Executive Council of the ILO. It takes policy decisions of ILO and establishes the program and the budget, which it then submits to conference for adoption. The working of governing body and office is aided by tripartite committees. Tripartite, again it is repeated, covering major industries, and by committees of experts on various matters which can affect workers, their rights, employees, governments, such as vocational training, management development, occupational safety, health, industrial relations, workers' education, and special problems of women and young workers. So that's how, by these two sub-organization, ILO maintains that human rights are there for all these workers, especially for women and children. Then you have the International Labour Office. As the name indicates, it is a permanent secretariat of ILO, and it is the focal point for ILO's overall activities, which it prepares under the scrutiny of governing body and under the leadership of Director General of ILO. So these three are the broad organizations. This will not take up a lot of space, especially if you use your flowchart only to give this information. Under the flowchart, write about this, that apart from this, regional meetings of ILO member states are held periodically to examine matters of special interest to the regions concerned. Now see, this is not part of the structure, but why are you being asked about the structure? So that you can convey how is the governance of ILO, or how is ILO framing policies, how is it moving forward. So this is also an important part of it. These regional meetings are an important part of it. You can definitely mention Singapore Declaration also, and its role in establishing human rights, workers' rights in the Asian region. Then move on to the mandate of ILO. What is the broad mandate? See, little bit about the mandate. We've talked about that in introduction also, that what it does. We've talked about that in structure also, but now it will ask you for specific points, that what does ILO do. So first of all, creation of coordinated policies and programs directed at solving social and labour issues. This has to be a first point, whether you've written it before or not. So just paraphrase it if you have written it before, and just sum up this first line in a very few words. Then you have adoption of international labour standards in the form of conventions and recommendations, and control over their implementation. We'll come back to conventions. ILO conventions, 8 ILO conventions are very important. Some of them have not been signed by India, and those which have not been signed or were recently signed, they were seen as questions or parts of the question in your prelims examination. So again, these conventions and mentioning them, that ILO carries forward its mandate with the help of conventions, that is very important. Then it provides assistance to member states in solving social and labour problems. So assistance is also provided by ILO. It is not just that ILO has the mandate of giving orders or just forming conventions. No, it provides assistance also. Then it also works in human rights protection field, the right to work, freedom of association, collective negotiations, protection against forced labor, protection against discrimination, etc. Basically anything and everything that can, have an impact on workers' rights. It also facilitates research and publication of works on social and labor issues. See, any United Nations organization will have this part as mandate. Any good organization has a research and publication wing there and then, especially when it comes to organizations related to the United Nations or specialized agencies of United Nations. So this is something that you can talk about. You can write this as an additional point even if you do not remember about it in your mains exam. Then finally, as part of its mission, the ILO aims to achieve decent work for all by promoting social dialogue, social protection and employment creation, as well as respect for international labor standards. So that is the broad mandate that we have discussed here. Now in the conclusion part, your introductions and conclusions, they should be full of facts from current affairs. Conclusion can have a bit of creativity, it can have your own viewpoints also, whether you want to give a way forward. Since this is an organization, a very simple question, way forward is not needed, a conclusion is needed. So if you know something from current affairs, definitely talk about it. Or if some important fact is related to an international organization, for example some conventions related to ILO, they are important, talk about them, that how have they created a change in how workers' rights are protected all over the world, how labor rights are protected or human rights are protected when it comes to workers, especially women and children. So as a result, ILO has been able to make immense contribution in ensuring protection of human rights of workers with the help of ILO Declaration on Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work and the 8 core conventions of the ILO. So here you are appreciating ILO because of the structure and mandate of ILO. So you are appreciating it. What you can do is, here you can add one line which can talk about the downside also. If there are some drawbacks that ILO needs to work upon, you can talk about it, but do not stretch your conclusion beyond 3 lines. Then today it is providing substantial support in the building of an ethical and productive framework for globalization. This is again appreciation. And the pandemic and recent economic upheavals have given us another opportunity to rethink our economic growth model. This is directly from one of the newspapers. Globalization has been considered as the most ideal growth model for the entire world. So now this growth model has come into question because the size of pie that we wanted to share with the entire world, the prosperity that we wanted to share with the entire world, and the trickle down theory, we see that it is not actually very true, because nature has limited resources and there is a point up to which you can actually produce. So then globalization is also coming into question. All this capitalism, globalization, free trade, free economies, everything has come into question, because the economic imbalances or the difference between rich and poor, that has widened after globalization picked up. So that is a fact that we know, that the topmost 1% or the richest 1% of the world hold most of the wealth. So that is what they're talking about, that the pandemic and recent economic upheavals have given us another opportunity to rethink our economic growth model, or to rethink our growth model, that how do we want to proceed further. And if we rethink our growth model, how are we going to share prosperity with the rest of the world? And this time, we can learn from our failures, we can decide how to, cover up disparities between rich and poor. So this time we have another opportunity to secure workers' rights also, and ILO here has a major role to play. The ILO plays a critical role in ensuring a fairer and more inclusive growth model where everyone has a stake. When we talk about everyone, we talk about producers, specifically workers, then employers of these producers, people who are at higher position employing these workers, and also the governments who regulate both of these entities. So yes, that's a fair and that's a justified conclusion to your answer. Definitely go through the recent newspaper articles with regards to ILO, the Singapore Declaration, and everything that has appeared on the news, and do use this question to practice for your mains exam. Do use this question to see how creatively you can write an answer to it. So visit our website rajayesacademy.com. The entire answer has been uploaded there. Just click on the link in the description, go to mains answer writing section and read this answer out and post your answers on the website. I'll see you with another discussion tomorrow on Seize the Mains at 9 PM. Stay tuned.